Hi everyone, and welcome to this stream. Today we are at the Hi-Fi Klubben headquarters here in Denmark. My name is Pau. I work at Hi-Fi Klubben, obviously, and for this stream I'll be your host. And so what am I hosting, and why do we do these streams? These weeks we do something we call Hi-Fi weeks. Actually we dedicated a couple of weeks to great sound, to listening to music, to enjoy music. We find it necessary for everybody to listen to great music, and we want you all to do it on a great stereo. Actually all those products out in the shops that we sell to you is a mean to get that great experience of listening to music. So to honor that and to tell you something we find really interesting, today we have a guest here, a very dear and close friend of mine and supplier, Thomas Holm from Bluesound. Hi, yes. Thomas, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I've looked so much forward to it. And could you just start telling me what is it you do at Bluesound?
Well, my official title is Product and Sales Specialist. Basically, my job entitles educating the sales staff in primarily Hi-Fi Klubben stores. Yeah. I deal with Scandinavia mostly, so that means whenever we're able to again travel to stores.
We look forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, doing seminars on both the products we produce, but also how to give customers that great experience when he comes into the store, and that entitles doing a kind of video trainings as well internally.
Yes. Okay.
And also, you know, shop support.
Yeah.
For the sales guys. And
yeah. Actually, we call you a lot, so thank you very much for that as well. This presentation, you're going to talk about Bluesound, obviously.
Yes.
You're going to talk something about tips and what you can do. 10 tips and tricks.
Yeah, it's
get the best
obviously
out of
I'm
the
going
system.
to get into what Bluesound is and a little background information, but yes, this is my take on the 10 kind of tips and tricks or kind of hidden features that you might not know about.
So we could all benefit from that. And I've heard something about maybe some news we haven't heard about, so I look very much forward to that.
There will be a little bit of that.
Yeah, okay.
A news that
that
even you haven't heard about.
Okay, so I'm very excited about that. And just before we let Thomas get started on his presentation, actually we already received a lot of questions from customers. So when Thomas has done the presentation, we will take time to answer some of those questions. And should you have questions during the presentation, you're very welcome to write them in the comments below, and we'll have people ready to answer you on that. So for now, Thomas, you take it away.
Thank you. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Thomas, and I work for Bluesound. And today I'm going to take you through, as we talked about with Pau, take you through a small background story of Bluesound, who we are, what the Bluesound system is, also what BlueOS, the BlueOS system is. And then I'm going to share with you my version of the 10 most important features or the tips and tricks of Bluesound. So the reason we do this is that, you know, we have a lot of customers already owning Bluesound. We also have customers, you know, maybe be interested in a streaming service, a streaming system, in a multi-room system. And the thing with Bluesound is that even though it came out almost 10 years ago, a lot of features, a lot of things have been added to the system over the years, and it might some of the things we update the system with is software updates. So that might happen in the background. So you might not even have noticed some of these smart features that has arrived to your product. But first, let's establish a little bit of background information about the system. Bluesound is owned by a company called Lenbrook Industries. And Lenbrook Industries is a Canadian company, which is actually also behind the brand of NAD, and also a speaker brand called PSB speakers. And I kind of take care of most of them. In this region, and in Hi-Fi Klubben primarily, we deal with NAD and Bluesound. So the good thing about having NAD and Bluesound under the same roof is that NAD has over 45 years of experience in doing top of the line hi-fi amplifiers and amplification and all kinds of technologies. That goes with PSB speakers as well. It's not as a known company in Scandinavia as it is in, for example, the United States, but it's a very renowned speaker company. The mastermind behind that company is called Paul Barton, and one of the really nice treats we have is that the same engineers that make all the NAD products, the same engineers, Paul Barton that I just mentioned, that do PSB speakers are the exact same engineers that work and build and design our Bluesound products. So we can actually proudly say that we are not just say a company with a computer background suddenly beginning to do speakers. We actually have almost 50 years of experience in speaker and amplifier design, and we are very, very proud of that. So that means we have a hi-fi heritage. So we typically say that a Bluesound system is it's made by audiophiles for audiophiles, and an audiophile is kind of is a no-no word in some cases. Many people think that that's that type of guy that would sit alone in his living room, just only obsessed by his hi-fi system. But one thing that people that audiophiles we call them, but people interested in really good, the best sound quality, have actually had it a little tough over the years when beginning to move into these kind of smart categories like streaming audio, like multi-room, for example. Back in the day when 10 years ago, if you were interested in very nice sound, for example, high resolution music, you had to have kind of a dedicated server or a kind of equipment, streaming equipment that was difficult to use, that could only be used on your stereo system, and we wanted to change that. We wanted to have a multi-room system, an intuitive system that could give you the same sound quality of those audiophile systems, but be just as easy and smart to use as all the other systems, and that's where Bluesound came into being. We were actually the world's first streaming and multi-room system that could do high resolution, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz sample rate, and you can distribute it all around your house. You could use one app to control it all without latency between your rooms. So in the beginning of the first system, what you did was to load in, rip all your CDs, put them on a hard drive, and then you could access that hard drive all around the house wirelessly. So as things evolved, more streaming services came to the system, so like Wimp or Spotify or Napster or high-res audio, for example, where you could actually pay and download high-res audio files down to your Bluesound system. So where we started out as a kind of high quality would be a compromise, we're now at a place where you can get high quality and you can get convenience at the same time. So Bluesound actually consists of two different layers, so to speak. So we have Bluesound, which is the Bluesound brand. It's all the products, like for example the speakers, the streamers, soundbars, all of that. And then we have the brain behind the system, the backbone, which is called BlueOS. So BlueOS is the operating system of Bluesound. It's our own system. It's developed in-house in Canada by our own engineers. And the good thing about that is that we also control everything that it does, and we can add on to the system. One of the things we did right from the beginning, from the first products, I'm going to show you in just a minute, is that we always make sure that the hardware is kind of, I wouldn't say overkill, but we ensure that the hardware has so much headroom in processing power and all that stuff that we can continuously add to the system in software and give you more features as things move along. So that means that your product is actually getting better and better and better as time goes by. So we started out almost 10 years ago. I think we have, next year will be our 10 years anniversary. We started in 2012 with 4 products. I have one of them here. I'll take it out. This is the original Node, as it's called. This little guy let you connect this one to your hi-fi amplifier and by that get access to wireless streamed audio. We had something called the Power Node as well, as you can see on the pictures, which is a little bit bigger than this, which had a built-in amplifier so you can connect speakers directly to it. Then we also had what we call a Vault, which was basically, bring this out, a very big version of this. It was a node with a CD slot, so you could actually use it to rip your CDs directly into the hard drive of the product and then play it into your stereo system. And then we also had the Pulse, which was a all-in-one speaker, active speaker. It was the predecessor to the Pulse 2i that we have right here. A lot has happened since we launched the first generation of Bluesound products. You might remember the odd diamond shape that we used, and we had a lot of feedback on that, and that's also why it evolved into the second generation as well. One of the most important things to conclude on this one is that at that time, when this came out, we pretty much supported every audio format there was, up to 24 bits, actually up to 32 bits if we wanted to. Oh, that's rubbish. 24 bits and from 32 kilohertz up to 192 kilohertz sampling rate. So that means we pretty much supported everything there was in audio formats and quality. The thing that's very important to notice here is that this product, for example, the first Node, it's actually my own product. I use this in my summer home to play music in my workshop. It still works. It still gets updates. It works just as good or even better because of updates, like the day I bought it. And so our products doesn't get obsolete. You might see that there's a time where these older products they won't get any updates anymore because of CPU processing. But we will never be in a situation where these are obsolete and you have to throw them out and buy something new, because they will always work likewise or even better than the day you bought them. But we consulted a lot with our market because we wanted to evolve on the system, and especially Hi-Fi Klubben is a really, really nice partner for us because one thing is that Scandinavia in general actually is typically a little bit ahead of the rest of the world in terms of design, in terms of taking on new technologies, new smart ways to do things. We see that actually that they're kind of front runners on that point. So in that case, in terms of customer feedback, in terms of staff feedback from Hi-Fi Klubben, we are in a really, really, really nice spot to be upfront with new things as well. So when we came to Hi-Fi Klubben and to Hi-Fi Klubben's customers and said, okay, if we want to evolve on the system, what do you need? What kind of functions are needed? What kind of design would you like? We came into the Generation 2 products, and we actually gave Hi-Fi Klubben, staff, everything they asked for. And I remember being at we call this the Hi-Fi Klubben kickoff, the time where I worked for Hi-Fi Klubben. I remember 600 Hi-Fi Klubben staff in standing ovations when they saw the Generation 2 products from Bluesound, because they actually got everything they've asked for. So we can actually thank Hi-Fi Klubben for that feedback, because pretty much everything we put into the Generation 2 products was based on feedback from their market and their sales guys. So in 2015, we released the second generation of Bluesound called Gen 2, which has later evolved to the Gen 2i. We had a lot of updates under the hood and also hardware-wise. Mainly, as you see on the picture, we also evolved into more products. So, just to go through the products one by one, it starts out from the bottom here with the Bluesound Flex 2i, which is a small active speaker. I'll get back to that one. Then we move up to its bigger brother, the Pulse Mini, where you suddenly, instead of just one tweeter and a bass unit, you get 2 tweeters and 2 bass units. And then we have the biggest one, the Pulse. You get an even better speaker configuration. It has the ability to play louder and bigger. We introduced the Pulse Soundbar, which is a soundbar for your TV, but also a very, very nice music solution. And obviously, we still have the streamers and the streaming amplifiers. So one of the things we did was also redesign the power node that you can connect directly to your speakers. In the later generation of this one is actually my older power node from the summer home as well. Later on, let's see if we can see this on camera, on the 2i version, we also upgraded the power node with an HDMI input, so you can connect your TV to this directly as well, and use it as a kind of even better soundbar solution with 2 good speakers as well. And obviously we still have the Node. It also looks a little bit different today, a little bit more sleek. And on this one, this is actually really a hero product for audiophiles, because this is a very, very nice sounding product. It looks good, I think. What we did was to cater a little bit more to the audiophiles in this product. So we changed from the older version, we changed the DA converters to very, very high quality, high-end DA converters. We, for example, put in a coaxial digital output, so you can use your own DA converter for this one. And a lot of extra added features, so more inputs on analog and digital as well. So that's the family as it looks right now. One thing we also did was to add features under the hood, and some of these I won't expose now because that's some of the tips and tricks I'm going to tell you about. So one thing we did, for example, for the Pulse Mini, and I'm going to switch over to my BlueOS app right now, so you can see the app in real life here. I've done a screen share of this one, so you can see it. Just very quickly, if I press the small house up here in the top right corner, I get all my rooms. I'm at the headquarters at Hi-Fi Club right now, so there's a lot of rooms here. I'm going to choose my Pulse Mini speaker that's behind me here. If I go into the 3 stripes up here in the left corner, I can choose what to do on this speaker. For example, title, for example, radio, or playlist that I've saved. What I'm going to show you here is that one of the things we added to the Gen 2i versions was actually a voicings of the speakers. So if I go into audio settings of the Pulse Mini, you will actually see that I can do something called wide mode. I can do enhanced dialogue. I can do a deep bass mode. So I can actually tailor the sound on the speaker to my liking, which was a feature we added in the 2i generation. Okay. One other thing we've added since is the new Pulse Subplus. This was actually introduced in 2020. This is a wireless subwoofer, and you can see it down here. It comes in black or white. You can hang it on the wall. You can have it standing upright, as I do right here. You can lay it flat beneath the couch, and it connects wirelessly to, for example, your soundbar or any of the Bluesound players. It's a very, very nice subwoofer that doesn't take up much space, and you can even use it if you like the form factor and the compact look of it. You can even use it as a regular subwoofer for a surround receiver, for example, from another brand. Good. So this is where we are right now, and we actually think that we have a really, really nice and complete system. It supports most of the popular, pretty much all the popular music streaming services. One of the things that's special about Bluesound is that it supports, of course, all the high-res music services such as Tidal and MQA, such as Amazon Music HD, Qobuz and Deezer in HD as well. And I'm going to let this screen speak for itself, but we are really, really proud about all the very nice reviews that we've gotten over the years, and we really feel that we have made a product that people love and really like. Yeah, good. So let's get into it. So I talked a little about this, the constant evolution of BlueOS, and one thing we've worked a lot on recently is stability. So recently we came out with a software upgrade called 3.10, and pretty much everything in that update happened behind the scenes, so happened in the core of the products to give better stability, to give better discovery between the players as well. That's one of the instances where an update actually didn't give anything visually to the customer, but actually helped a lot in the background. Good. So let's dive into my 10 tips and tricks, what I think is the 10 most unique features of Bluesound. Good. The first one is simply that you can use it on pretty much every platform that you'd like. So obviously, like I just showed you, you can use it with a smartphone, Apple or an Android system, iOS or Android. You can use it on a tablet. You can even use a desktop controller for your computer. And for example, Apple Watch, the Amazon Kindle Fire can also be used for it. So we are pretty much on all platforms. Especially the desktop controller in these times where you're sitting at the home office, it's actually quite useful to have it on your computer and not having to get your phone out of the pocket every time you want to put on music. Yeah, the second one, and that's probably the biggest one and the most unique one for us, is that BlueOS is actually not only built into the Bluesound products, but is also available for other products. Obviously, the nearest partnership we have is with NAD. It's the same company. There's a lot of new NAD products that has already BlueOS built in when you buy it. So that means, for example, on the M33 that you see right here, which is a high-end integrated amplifier, it could be the NAD M10 that we see over here. BlueOS is already built in. So when you hook it up to your network, you can use the amplifier with the BlueOS app exactly the way you would do if you use a small speaker in your kitchen, for example. That's what we call a BlueOS ready product. And then we also have these BlueOS enabled products. You see there's a brand name called Dali, there's Peachtree Audio, Monitor Audio, Roxanne, and this is actually us making BlueOS available for other companies as well. So for example, over here we have the Dali Rubicon C, which is a wireless speaker system, and with the wireless hub that you use to control this system, you can actually build in a BlueOS card into this one and upgrade it so that it uses BlueOS for streaming, just the same way that we use on the Bluesound products. That goes for NAD as well. It doesn't have to be BlueOS built in. For many of the legacy products we have with MDC slots, I'm talking about this a little bit more in the NAD presentation, but that actually means that on many of our NAD products, we have these expansion ports on the back where you can actually buy a BlueOS card, put that into your NAD amplifier, and then it's BlueOS enabled as well. So this is a very versatile platform that you can use for many, many instances. So it actually means that you don't have to, it doesn't have to stop here with a power node and a good pair of speakers. You can actually do it in a high-end system as well. We're very proud of that. Also, one thing we introduced in the 2i generation was Apple AirPlay, AirPlay 2. So this means that now you can actually use your iPhone or an Apple device and stream music or audio directly to the products with AirPlay. It also means that now we support Siri voice control, so you can say to Siri that if it's set up correctly, to play Bob Dylan in the living room where you have an M33 or a Bluesound player, for example. We also support voice for Alexa from Amazon and Google Assistant as well, just so you know. It also means that it's very versatile. So if you already have an AirPlay speaker, that you like from another brand, you can combine these two and just do multi-room over AirPlay instead. And just a little nice feature is also that if you use an Apple TV for your TV, you can actually wirelessly transfer the sound from the Apple TV to any of the Bluesound players as well. Okay. The fourth one is something called Follow Me, and that's our own unique feature of the BlueOS app. It means that if let's say, for example, that I'm sitting in my office, I've been building a playlist on my Pulse Mini in the office, and now I want to go down to my kitchen, and I don't want to go down there and rebuild that complete playlist. So what I do is that on the app, I go into my office Pulse Mini, I press the small arrow here, and this allows me to, this is the Follow Me function, allows me to take all those playlists, everything that's happening on that room, and move it into another room. I don't have to group and then ungroup. I simply just, with one touch of a button, move everything I'm doing to another room. It's actually quite a nice feature. I use it all the time at my house. Okay. The fifth one is my personal favorite. And this is called presets. And it, you know, if you've been used to having an old FM radio, you pretty much know what a preset is. You press button number 2 and your favorite radio station starts. We just don't see this as much on these streaming systems. And it's actually my personal favorite because when I wake up in the morning, I typically have two things on my mind. I want to start the coffee machine and I want to start some music. And actually, I don't have to pull out the phone from my pocket to start music. I can pre-configure presets, for example, on the Flex right here. I have 5 buttons to choose from, and just simply by pressing the button, I can go into it starts playing music. I can start a radio station, I can start my own playlist, I can actually engage an input, for example, if I have a TV connected, I can do that as well. And one smart feature is also that it's not only button-wise on the Flex. If I go left here on my iPhone and go into my widgets, suddenly my BlueOS shows up in my widget, and I have all my presets here as well. So I can start a preset just by swiping one time, pressing one button. I don't have to go into the app. You can actually do that on an Apple Watch as well. So it's quite handy. So it just means you don't have to get your phone out to start music, and I really like this feature. So you might ask, what about the other products? Because they don't have these 5 buttons on top. And that's where we come into the next subject, which is really unique for NAD. And that is something called IR learning. It basically means that if you have an old remote control lying around, this one is very old, I think it's over 12 years old or something. You can actually, with all the products, you can learn functions from an old remote control. So it might be something you have lying around from an old DVD player or something, and if you want to, you can program presets, you can program volume up and down, skip track back and forth, everything you want to, you can program with an old remote with IR codes. So for example, on this one, I have coded into as well, if it works. Sorry, it doesn't. There we go. So I can start a radio station with a 12-year-old remote control. Obviously, we do make a Bluesound remote control as well that fits the design and all, and we have preset buttons on that. One thing that's nice, if you have, for example, I've shown on the picture here an old a TV remote control. You might have 2 or 3 buttons on that that's unused, that doesn't do anything, and you can actually take that button and you can program it into, start my favorite radio station. You can program it into switch to TV input, for example. It's really, really handy, and that means that you don't have to use the app to start some music. It might even be that you have an old TV without HDMI ARC. You can just pull out an optical cable and then use a button to activate that input from your TV and use the volume up and down to control TV sound as well. It's very, very handy. So simply just go into the settings of your Bluesound system. I'm going to show you real quick. So you go into settings, player, IR remote, and then you decide, do you want to do IR learning or do you want to use the Bluesound remote? If I want to do IR learning, here are all your options, and you can see right now I have programmed volume up and volume down. If I want to program a preset, I simply open that one up, press the button, point it to my speaker, and then the preset, that button is saved in the product. It's really, really easy and a nice feature. Okay. The seventh one is also something we introduced in the newer generations, and that is a home theater fixed group, which basically means wireless surround sound capability. So if you have a soundbar, for example, and you have 2 flex speakers, you can actually use those 2 flex speakers as wireless surround channels for that soundbar, and you can also connect a wireless subwoofer to get a full surround sound system. One thing that's also pretty cool is that if you have a power node and a pair of speakers, you can also add wireless speakers with a flex, for example. So the options you have in this aspect is that, for example, on the picture here, we have a power node with 2 regular speakers and a wireless subwoofer, and we add 2 flex as wireless rear speakers. You could also have normal speakers in front, normal speakers in the back, and use any of the power nodes, even the first generation, to power those speakers as wireless rear channels. You can do the same with a soundbar in front and normal speakers, regular passive speakers and a power node in the back. Or you can, of course, do flexes as well. So it's a very versatile way of getting that surround sound feel to a more simple system than to draw cables around the house. Okay, so number 8 is also quite a neat feature. This is two-way Bluetooth. This means that if you have a smartphone, obviously you can all the products have Bluetooth aptX HD built in, so very nice quality Bluetooth connection. So obviously I can send music to my players. So for example, if I want to play a YouTube video or sound from YouTube or Netflix or something like that, I could either use AirPlay or I could also use a Bluetooth. But the smart thing here is that the speakers use 2 ways. So if I have a pair of Bluetooth headphones, wireless headphones, I can get them to connect to the player and then can hear in the headphones what's happening on the player. For example, if you're sitting late at night and want to watch a TV show on your soundbar, on your headphones instead. Or if you want to access your local music library through the BlueOS app, you can stream that to your headphones with the BlueOS app. It's very, very easy. And the way you do it is quite simple. You open up your room view right here, the groups and the players. Go into the one you want to share with and then simply press Bluetooth headphones, and then it looks for all the available Bluetooth units that's in the vicinity. So that's a very nice, cool feature as well. Okay, the second last I want to share with you is also quite a handy feature, and also one we are particularly proud of, is that if you get any problems with your system, you need help, you can actually, in the system, use our help desk directly in the app. So going into the settings here and press help, you can either go to online support. Let's say you want to know how to set up a music library on a Mac computer, for example. I would say maybe search for a file, and then you could say, okay, file sharing on Mac OS. It comes up, you get a guide, and then you know how to set that up. So that's a very easy way of getting support without having to call anyone. If you have a more urgent matter, you can also do a direct support request in the app, and that is going to be sent directly to our support department, and they're going to get directly back to you in a very short while. I know for a fact that we are very persistent on doing very nice customer support, and we won't stop until we've solved your problem. And this is a feature that you should always try to use if you're experiencing problems with Bluesound, because what happens when you fill out a support request, you also send a log file from your player to our support team, and they can go into and look in that log file if anything is out of the order with the player itself, or maybe your wireless setup in your house, for example. And obviously, the first point of contact, if this doesn't work, should be the skilled guys at Hi-Fi Klubben. The guys out in the stores are very, very knowledgeable about the Bluesound system and can help you directly as well. Okay. Also, we come to the 10th and the bonus one. And that is the new product, Pau, that you were asking for. Actually, on the 9th of March, just in a while, we'll be introducing the new Pulse Soundbar Plus. It looks exactly like the one we're used to, just with the addition of some controls on the front. But what we'll be adding to this one is, first off, our next generation processor, which is a quad-core processor that's 8 times faster than the one we have in this one, with 4 times the memory. So again, we upgrade so that we can do future upgrades. We have the headroom to do it. Also, it will be supporting Dolby Atmos, so you can play that sound format as well. We'll be doing it's the same speaker configuration as we're used to, but we'll be doing that in a virtual form, so you will experience it as immersive audio without us changing the hardware on the soundbar as well. One of the cool things behind the scenes in this one is that we'll also be adding a secondary Wi-Fi module, which means when you pair up with flex speakers for rear speakers, for example, the wireless subwoofer as we have over here, it will happen on a secondary Wi-Fi module that's completely independent to your home Wi-Fi. So that communication doesn't have to go through the router. It happens directly to the products, and that's going to really up the stability on those connections as well. We are launching, as I said, on March 9th, and we expect it to be out in stores and available mid-April. So I think I've spent enough time talking. I hope you got some insight and some of the tips and tricks. Otherwise, you can always ask the guys at Hi-Fi Klubben.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Thomas.
No problem.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
As we promised before, when Thomas has done the presentation, we actually have some questions, so we hope you will stay just a little while.
Absolutely.
Then let's do some of them. First one, Thomas.
Yes.
Plans for Bluesound notes, power notes with direct?
With room correction?
Room correction, yeah.
Yeah. It's not that it's not possible. I think we see that more of kind of NAD territory.
Okay.
Like the direct room correction is more kind of a little bit up the ladder of the advanced user. So we see that more of an. It's not that it's not possible, and no. It might.
But the price point will be higher if you had to do it.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, okay.
So actually, you could say, and I don't. We have a product called the C658.
Yeah.
Which is actually, we could call it, internally we sometimes call it the super node.
Yeah. Because
it is actually a streaming player preamplifier with DRAC included. So that product can actually do that task.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Second off, from one of our customers, I'm a big fan and active user of Bluesound.
Yeah,
thank you.
Nice.
What I miss is more intelligent possibilities in grouping. So you can define a fixed group per source, and you don't have to cancel and create your group every time. For instance, when you switch from TV or...
Yeah. So we get that a lot actually, and we see it as a kind of a group preset. Like you can preset a radio station, you could actually have a preset for grouping products together. I think I skipped that in the presentation, but what you can do, like a home theater group, you can also do fixed groups. So let's say you have a flex and a power node and a soundbar, always doing the same. You're always grouping those together. You can do a fixed group so they look like just one product in the app.
Okay.
So what this customer would like is to have customizable groups.
Yes.
So when he switches to TV sound, it's another group of products then, and it's actually on our roadmap.
Okay.
And we're looking into it, and we get that feedback a lot. But I cannot give you a date, unfortunately.
So maybe in the future, yeah.
I would definitely think in the future, but I just cannot give a date on it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Then we have one here about Soundcloud. Anything about integration of Soundcloud into the products, or?
That would be really, really nice.
Yeah.
It is actually on our roadmap.
Okay, as well.
But once again, I can't.
Still no date?
I have no date on it,
No, okay.
but we are actually looking into integrating that. So, so I think it will come. Yeah, we really hope so.
We'll have patience.
Lots of these things, when we talk about streaming services, it's not always up to us.
No.
It's also up to that service if they want to provide their service for us. So we get a lot of feedback, for example, from Scandinavia, from local services, from UC, for example.
Okay, yeah.
And
so
we've
it's different from all over.
It is,
country.
and it's not that we don't want to, but there are some of those that are a little bit more hesitant to deliver their service to in our way. So let's hope for the best.
We hope. One more. Can you simply just pair new models, false flex, with the old models, both in stereo, and just pair them in groups?
Yes, you can. All the new models are compatible with the older models. So if you, for example, have a Flex Gen 2 and a Flex Gen 2i, there's no problem in configuring them in fixed groups. You can even do a stereo pair of them, so a left and a right if you want to. Obviously, we upgraded the sound quality as well and did some tweaks and tunes to the 2i versus the old one. But there's nothing practically impossible about it.
It can be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So Thomas, that's it. No more questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I enjoyed it a lot. And to you guys out there, thank you very much for watching. If you've been curious about some of the things Thomas talked about, the products, you're so very welcome to come down to the stores, and we'll show you, and you'll be able to listen to the products. And we look very much forward to see you. For the stream, this stream, and a lot of other streams from Hi-Fi Klubben, you can watch them on Facebook and YouTube. So, of course, we think you should do that. But for now, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you.